All right, what this video concerns is the lockup mechanism on these early Thompson Contenders. This is a 1984 Contender, serial number about 252,000. They had a tendency to lock up and you can't break them open. Of course, you break them open by pulling the trigger guard. And I did a lot of research trying to figure out where and what the problem is on these. And everybody has the same thing. It's these locking lugs right here. In the early ones, if you can get a look at those, in the early Contenders, they were one piece. Now they moved them to a two-piece later on, which worked better. But they tend to lock up because of the surfaces, the top, the sides, the front. And polishing them helps a lot. Well, if yours is locked up, you can't try to solve that problem, that's for sure. This one had been in storage for a long time, and I opened it up and I couldn't get it unlocked. So I did a bunch of research, and I'm going to go through everything that everybody has told me to do, so they try to give you some shortcuts here. Now, a lot of people say these are dry lube, you need to use graphite. I like to use some molybdenum, and that you need to use brake cleaner or some kind of carb cleaner, get in there and get all the oil out. That's one of the options, and then try to open it up. If you don't have the split locking mechanism, you should get a split one and install it. There's a 3/32 roll pin in there that you have to do. You have to take the barrel off, of course, and there's a pin just right inside there. And replace that. And before you do, make sure you polish the sides in front of those locking blocks, and even on the gun itself, but don't use emery cloth or sandpaper. You have to just polish them, kind of like you do on an M4 feed ramp. The spring in there is kind of stiff sometimes, and so replacing the spring doesn't hurt anything with a lighter spring. Then one of the other tricks is when you do these to unlock them is holding the barrel upward while you pull the trigger guard, and that will sometimes release pressure on getting the gun open. Obviously, they say dismantle, which requires taking the front grip off, removing a pin that's about right in there, removing the pistol grip. And one of the problems with Packmeyer grips, as you can see right here, it pushes up against the grip, and some say you have to grind that off so there's less pressure on that hand guard, that pistol grip. But what I did was I kind of did the opposite of what everybody else said, because I knew it had been in storage for quite a while, and I was afraid there would rust, and there actually is some surface rust right here on the ejector, and a little bit of browning elsewhere, and I think that's what really did it. I can see browning right there on the ejector blocks, or on the blocks, locking blocks. So I just sprayed it full of penetrating oil. I put oil in here, put oil in here. I flipped her over, put oil in here, and even some right where the barrel locks up. And I let her sit overnight. Came out, pulled the lock, and it just popped right open. So that's how I solved it. I think dismantling is the last thing you should do. I think that I would use carbon brake cleaner initially if I had been using the gun regularly. If you hadn't been using it, I think the penetrating oil is the real way to go on it. Now, I'm going to clean all the penetrating oil off, and I'll use a dry lube after that. But for the time being, this worked for me. When I take that barrel off again, I will definitely polish those locking blocks right there. That will get polished. I wish you the best of luck on these guns. They're really fun, but they can be frustrating too.